You are one who selects out what you are going to be aware of, what you are calling into your live experience. You select what is going to make an imprint upon you. You have attracted to yourselves certain people, places, things, objects, or maybe by this time, all of the above. You've also attracted thoughts, beliefs, and perceptions. And you just kind of drop them like little pebbles into the water. Just think of a belief that you have right now and drop it into the water and watch the ripples extend out into the universe. They literally join with other ripples that you have created. And as these ripples move out and touch one another and come back to you, this is the field of creation that makes up your physical third dimensional reality. You are, therefore, never experiencing anything except what you have chosen to create through your selection of the pebbles that you have dropped in the field of your awareness. You could say that each person, each object, is really a field of relationships, unique and seemingly different from you, but a web of relationships nevertheless. Everything is a web of relationship. All webs are in relationship with all other webs, and they become grander and grander and grander ad infinitum. And so you are nothing but a web of relationships. And where you are in this moment has to do with these beliefs and these pebbles of relationships and people and experiences that you've had in your life that you have dropped into the water. And they have joined with others to create your life. So keep in mind that you have been the creator of all that you experience. Now breathe deep and exhale. And inhale. And exhale. Think about an experience that you may have had recently, or possibly even today, that would have been a pebble that you dropped into the water. And when you're ready, open your eyes and come back to me. Just focus on any color that you like so that you're grounded. Now, in the text that I sent you this morning, I told you to bring something of value that had meaning for you. Did you all do that? Yes? No?
Yes.
Okay. Who would like to go first and share what you brought? Barbara?
I can go.
Yeah, she better go because I don't see it.
Well, you have it with you, hopefully. Okay, Sumaya, share what you brought with you that has meaning.
So let's see if I can get it to show on Zoom.
This is
Okay.
a picture of Mother Mary.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we
And
could see it perfectly.
oh, good, good. A dear friend, Danielle, had gone to Medjugorje in, I guess it's in Bosnia, a number of years ago, and Mother Mary appears there, or has, and she appeared to my friend, and my friend was given very specific instructions. And Mother Mary said to her, I want you to be my voice in the world. And my friend is Romanian, and she was like, what? What? No, me? I don't know how to do that, you know? But she's really into she's a very pure soul, and she's really beautiful at what she does. And a couple of years ago, we were on a retreat together, and she had bought this picture there, and she gave it to me as a birthday present because
Hmm.
it was my birthday during the retreat. And a few years later, I had done an Oracle Priestess program with my friend Marguerite Rigoglioso, and I learned, well, I was already channeling, but I was struggling anyway to have faith in what I was doing. And I started channeling spontaneously Mother Mary. And I don't do that normally, and it's not something I do in my business, but it felt like a sacred thing
Mm-hmm.
that she, giving me information. I did a few public channelings for her, and I decided, no, it's not what I want to do. But this particular picture, just because of the history of it and all that has transpired for me in my deeper connection with Mother Mary and Jesus as guides, it's very meaningful, this picture. So I just
Beautiful.
decided to share it.
Beautiful. Thank you,
Uh,
Sumaya. Thank you so much. That was gorgeous. Does
well,
anybody have questions for Sumaya?
mm,
Okay. Who would like to go next? We only have Barbara or B.
well, I didn't get the text, so.
Oh, I don't know why you didn't.
Okay.
B, you want to go next?
Yeah, sure, sure, sure. Oh my gosh, I have two things here, guys. And I'm going to talk about one. And you guys who don't know a lot about me, and not even Shirlene, it's been well over 19 years that I've been a breast cancer survivor. And I always talk about my grandson, who is 19 years. In every year that he has a birthday, and he just had one June 15th, I get to live. And this little plaque, what it says, enjoy the little things.
Mm-hmm.
And the little things is what I forgot to live, I forgot to do, I forgot to enjoy. And here in these past 6 to 8 months, and even in the last 3 months, I have learned so much from being with Dr. Shirlene. Of course, my grandson is still here. And those two people, him and Dr. Shirlene, I could tell you that he always keeps me grounded to enjoy the little things. Nothing else matters. Nothing. When it comes to him, when it comes to spending time with him, when it comes to listening to him. And I pulled this out because he had a meltdown on
Mm-hmm.
yesterday. It was a huge meltdown, like everything that hit him, everything that you can imagine, his job, just every button that anyone had pushed, it pushed him over the edge on yesterday. And I began to think, and I asked him the question, and all I could hear him say is, can you just say thank you for the things that I do? Can you, that's all the kid wants from him being so nice and so kind to people. Can you just say thank you? Can you imagine that little thing matters to him?
Mm-hmm.
And it made me just go get this to say, enjoy the little things, because it really wasn't the big meltdown. He was just asking for one little thing. And as I began to go through my journey with Shirlene, she has taught me to stay present and enjoy the little things, and the rest will just get in line and follow you.
Excellent, B. That's beautiful.
Yeah. And so
Beautiful.
Yeah.
this is my grandmother's Bible, and I just got it out. Enjoy the little things. It's a big Bible. It really is. But in it, it really teaches you how to be kind and let you walk in a way that somebody sees a God in you. And I know after yesterday, that's what my grandson sees in me. And so he's expecting great things. So he and I can both enjoy the little things.
Beautiful. That was beautiful. Does anybody have questions for B?
How old is your grandson now?
19.
Wow. It's the same number of years that you've been a breast cancer survivor.
Absolutely.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
His life, his birthday is my life.
Excellent.
Wow.
Excellent.
Powerful.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Barbara, what are your thoughts?
Well, both of you women have shared such meaningful and powerful things, and I appreciate that so much. Things that I need to be reminded of. I get caught up in you know, the whirlwind, and just being reminded of what's important. And it's difficult as a new business person to set priorities and keep priorities. You know, the days are long and the distractions are many, or the shoulds and the musts. And so thank you so much to both of you for what you've shared.
So Barbara, tell us about something, you can even describe it, that has meaning to you in your life. While you're thinking about it, I'll talk to you about mine, okay? Okay. So, excuse me. I'm wearing this necklace because I bought it the day, and it's all coral, red coral. I bought it the day that I spent half a day in the cage with a 700-pound tiger. And when I wear it, it reminds me of the power just in the tiger's tail. It was amazing. Because when he whipped his tail around, I thought, oh my gosh, and he slapped me in the back. And I thought, I never noticed how much power was in a 700-pound tiger. And I spent the day laying on him and talking to him and petting his head and petting his back. And I have many pictures of us together on that day. And so this necklace reminds me of the power of the tiger And when I put it on, it's what keeps me going because it has that power in it. It was the first thing I got when I came out of that. It wasn't a cage. It was a huge area. It had a swimming pool in it for the tiger. It had grass all around. It was a really cool area and trees and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, Thailand isn't like California, if you've been there. You can just, you know, there were elephants performing and you could walk right out to the elephants and touch them and pet them. And the same way with the tigers, okay, and monkeys and anything else you want to spend time with. And I love, love, love animals. So it took me some time before I walked through that door into the tiger sanctuary is what they called it. I had some trepidation, some fear popped up. And I thought, okay, Shirlene, this is probably your one and only chance to spend an afternoon with a tiger. Are you going to let fear take over? Or are you going to step through the door and become a part of the experience? And I decided that it was time for me to overcome all my fear and step through the door, which I did do. It was the most rewarding experience that I've ever had. And that's why this necklace is so powerful for me. Okay? Anybody have questions about that?
Why did you decide to go in with the tiger?
Because I wanted to test how I was when it came to fear. I wanted to overcome the fear that I was experiencing. And when you step in with a tiger, it's no messing around. I mean, and there were other tigers in there also. There were 3 other tigers in there. Anything could have happened during that afternoon. And I spent a whole afternoon with the one that I was with. And, you know, they were doing their roar and all of that kind of thing. And some people will say, oh, they're sedated. They're definitely not sedated. They get up, they walk in the pool, they do whatever they want to do. And they do their roar and all of that kind of thing. But I decided that if I could get beyond that fear, I could get beyond any fear. And that's why I did it.
Were there other people taking that?
Different times of the day, maybe, I don't know, but they weren't in with me. So they don't let people, just a lot of people go in there because, you know, they don't have the laws that we have in the States. It's very different. I mean, you go in at your own risk. But I have to tell you, these tigers have been raised by human hands since they're babies. And before you go in that one, you go in and you play with the babies, then you play with the teenagers, then you go in with the big ones, okay? So each age group gets an experience with humans, and that's how they're raised so that you can spend time with them.
Wow.
But you really have to, at least I did, I surrounded the whole sanctuary with just love and light. And I asked Spirit before I went in, and of course Spirit saying, you will go in. And I kept saying, are you sure? Are you sure? Arguing once again, right? But Spirit said, you'll be fine. And I was fine. I was perfectly fine. And the tiger and I got along very well. And I have like 1 million pictures. Because nobody believes me when I tell them that.
I think you've posted a few
Yeah,
of
I
those
posted
pictures.
Yes, I have.
Yeah, on Facebook. But
Mm-hmm.
when I saw you with the tiger, I didn't know the whole thing, that you would spend an afternoon in a preserve with the tiger. You know,
Right.
I mean, I didn't know about that. So that makes it even more amazing. But I remember being pretty impressed. The tiger is special to me.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
They've always been my ally. Yeah,
Right.
it's the tiger. I have a big, you've seen it in my house. I have a big,
Mhm.
huge photograph of a
I
tiger in
have.
the wild.
And
Yeah.
I was given a glass tiger from my youngest son very early on. And it's always had a lot of power for me. So I really couldn't, but I have to tell you, I was feeling it in my whole core before I went in there. Okay, so the fear was definitely there, but it was an opportunity to build trust with spirit. And so I just did it. I figured, oh, well, maybe I'm done here. I don't have to worry, because if I'm done here, it's over, right? I don't have to do this anymore. But I wasn't done here. Nope. Obviously. Okay, Barbara. So your turn.
Well, searching my mind, I would have to say that some of my mother's jewelry means a lot to me. And even I guess more specifically, I'm a member of United Methodist Women, which is a women's group in the United Methodist Church. And my mother really introduced me to that. So I think that her UMW pins and pins that I saw her wear often are special to me. And I do keep them locked up, which means that I don't wear them as I should. But family has been special, and I'm from a small family, and some of those things represent those memories of family.
Beautiful, beautiful. So does anybody have questions for Barbara? No?
Barbara's your mother still with you?
No, she passed away in 2009, rather suddenly from colon cancer, which was undetected. We did not know, and she may have felt, but she wasn't saying.
Do you have all of her pins from the United Methodist?
Yes, yes.
So do you have like a memory table set up somewhere where you can like really lay them out?
That's a good idea.
I would do
Good
that.
idea. And I have seen people for wedding bouquets instead of flowers,
Yes.
having pins covered. And
that's so true.
I think I might like to do that.
That's a great idea. Yeah. Sumaya, you wanted to say something?
Well, I have a couple of meaningful pieces from my mom. She died a number of years ago, but I was just thinking, gee, I'd like to see one or two of those pieces that are special to you. Maybe you could show us another time.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. I have a silver spoon ring that I usually wear, and I wear it all the time, you know.
Yes, and you know, these are costume jewelry kinds of things. They are
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
They're precious.
Yeah. A lot of bridesmaids and brides like to wear them and stuff, and sometimes they, like you say, do the bouquet and yeah.
So the purpose of this discussion is so that it reflects back on what I was saying. Do you see how these things have meaning for you, but no one else, right? Do you follow what I'm saying? Because if something happened to me and somebody saw this necklace, they would think nothing of it because they didn't spend time in the tiger sanctuary with me. They don't know what meaning it has. And so I'm the one who has applied meaning to it. The same thing with B. Her grandson's birth date is very meaningful to her, and it's meaningful to him also. And she made a really good point about the fact that people just want to be loved and heard. I think you've heard me say that before. And I say that in my book too, don't I? That's all they want.
Mm-hmm.
And so really the reality is that we chose things, but none of us really chose people. Didn't you find that interesting?
Well,
What do you
that was
think
what
about
you said to do.
Mm-hmm. But you could have brought a picture of your mother. You see what I'm saying?
No, I did.
Yeah. So you brought a picture of Mother Mary, but you could have brought a picture of your mother, or Barbara could have, or B could have brought a picture of her grandson. Now, I'm not saying this is right or wrong. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying that it's all about, everything in our life is about building relationship. Okay? Everything. So I want you to turn to page 43 in the book, if you would. Under Working with Universal Flow. And tell me first, each of you, I love that we only have 3 actually tonight. What did you feel about the book as you were reading it? Who'd like to say something first?
The whole book, or just this
No,
section?
just what's the general feeling that you got from the beginning of the book? I said you only had to read the first 6 chapters.
Oh.
But if you read more, that's great. That's okay. It's not hard to read, is what I hear.
It's captivating, yes.
So Sumaya, what is your feeling when you have the book in your hand or when you're reading it?
It's been a while since I've read it, but having reread the 6 chapters, it has a quality of care.
Mm-hmm.
C-A-R-E.
Mm-hmm.
It's quality of care.
Okay.
That's the word that comes to me, that, and it does have a quality of the divine feminine. It's funny because it's a business book and it's about sales, and typically those are very masculine things, or they have been until we women started coming in. But it does have that quality of when you read it, if at least when I read it again, it made me think about myself and touch in and connect to myself. So it had that quality to it.
And did you find yourself in there? Did you find yourself in there?
In this particular?
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah, I definitely did. Yeah, definitely did. There were whole sections where, I go, yeah, that's right. I get it,
Good. Awesome.
So,
awesome.
yeah.
Okay, great. How about you, Barbara? Would you like to say something?
Yes, I was underlining all over the place.
Good.
Then circling page numbers, and there was almost all the page numbers circled.
Now you know why it's an award-winning book, right?
Yes. Talking about the 3 C's and fear. You said a lot about fear, and what we think is what we attract. Just so many gems, and as I said, I'm underlining and circling, and learned a lot about you that I didn't know.
Yeah.
I've known a certain amount of things that you've faced and done, and oh, okay, and pretty impressive. And thank you for writing this book.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Well, you know, I channeled it, so it was spirit too, not just me.
So it's a real page turner. It's exciting that that it's here for to touch many people, and your experience in Washington, and sharing that, and that it's going to be shared even further.
Mm-hmm.
Such a blessing to the world.
Thank you. Awesome. So what about you, B? What are your thoughts?
So first of all, again, Shirlene, thank you for writing that, and I'm gonna kind of dive in what Barbara said. First and foremost, when I read the book, I connected with a human being. I connected with a person. I connected with someone who had a life experience and was able to write about life experiences to connect with other people. Some of the chapters that I read resonated in my spirit, and in the beginning, just from even chapter 1, the dumpster diving, and you talked about your kids, that just made me want to stay present in those chapters, because I too experienced something similar to that, trying to help feed my kids. And where was this all going? And you took your lifestyle and spoke to so many people based on your life experiences, not just writing a book.
Mm-hmm.
Wrote it so that it could touch other people's lives based on you as a human being.
Because thank you.
I was glad that I knew how the dumpster diving, turned out well. I mean, I don't know that I could do that.
Well, yeah, and the truth was, Spirit said I wasn't going to do that. The reality was, why couldn't just one person hand out all the watermelons, right? That's a no-brainer. But that's a leader's thought process. There were obviously no other leaders there because they were each going in on their own. And right away I was thinking, why do I have to go in there? There's already somebody in there. They can hand it all out. Why wouldn't they just hand it to everybody who was standing there? They never thought about it. Instead, they took turns actually climbing into that thing. It was crazy. Okay? So, when you're standing there with 2 small children and you only have 15 cents in your pocket, you don't know where your next dollar is going to come from. In fact, $1 is a really big thing when you only have 15 cents. I had no money to drive anywhere else. I had to stay there on the beach because if I told Spirit, I said, if you'll just give me a place to lay my head, I promise I will help others for the rest of my life. That's what this book is all about.
And so many people, they forget that promise, but you have not forgotten that.
It was an important time in my life. When you have nowhere to park a car and you have nowhere to put a little trailer and you have 2 children, it's a scary time, right? Because all we had was rice and beans. I had no hope. I had no way of knowing because I could not go to work with my 2 small children. How would I take care of daycare? You see what I'm saying? So in my mind at that time, my belief, my pebble in the water was that there was nothing I could do, but that wasn't true. Because Spirit told me, go to work. And as soon as I said, okay, I'll go to work, somebody showed up to take care of the children and they didn't even charge me. But I had to decide. That's the thing. But what happens if we decide incorrectly? That's the question. That's when the mistakes come in, right? So let's go to page 43 and talk about those mistakes. And Barbara, would you read under working with universal flow for me?
Working with universal flow. It's a known universal principle that you are meant to be happy here in Earth School and receive all you desire. But wouldn't you agree that sometimes it doesn't feel that way? I believe the trials you go through are lessons you failed to learn, presented once again. Where you made a faulty choice or misstep, you can make a better decision next time and escape the pain. But when opportunity presents itself, you have to make the choice to see your part in it. Change the way you look at the challenge, and then choose the right steps into peace. The question is, are you awake enough to see your opportunities and the options of peace on your path? And I underlined all of that.
You what?
I underlined all of that.
So let's stop for just a minute. What opportunity have you had be in the last week and a half, maybe 2 weeks, to decide whether you wanted peace or pain in your life?
Several opportunities have come my way, but it looks to me to be a bit of chaos around it, which definitely allows me to say, let me check in with spirit first. And keep in mind, I wasn't doing that in the past. I was doing it to please other people. But now, if it's going to bring chaos, that's going to interrupt my peace. So peace is so much better than pain. Of course, you know I've already endured pain.
Right.
I know what that feels like. But my mind probably says, you can handle it, go ahead and do it. But I choose peace.
So what experience, could you share an experience with us when you chose peace instead of pain?
I think I would love to share, and I would love to share. I'm going to share this. There is a guy that I know that he, we are best friends. We care about each other, but he decided to bring in a past relationship and ask the girl to do something that I could have done for him. And I took it very, very personal. I thought to myself, this is awful. This is just, oh my gosh. I began to sit quietly and meditate, and I asked myself, why are you making that a big deal? Why is that so important to you? You are better. You could stand in your power. And I began to turn the situation around. And I owned my peace because that wasn't my problem. And nor was I going to take it on to turn it into pain and allow me to separate my life and my mindset and interrupt my peace. It was mind-blowing to the guy that I did not get into that. And but at the end of the day, I was still able to have a conversation, still be friends, because I chose peace over chaos and pain.
And B, I want to tell you something. B shared that with me. Was that yesterday? Time is just, I've been on airplanes and all over.
It's a girl thing. Let's share this.
Yes. I was thinking that after you shared that with me, I had to go pick up my car, as you know. And I was thinking about that. And he actually provided peace for you because you're working very hard to move forward in your business. If you'd gotten stuck doing all his stuff,
Yes.
you ultimately would have been resentful because you were trying to please him.
Correct.
Yes. So your response right away, of course, was, hey, why would you bring her into my world? I'm not comfortable with that. But really, he did you a favor
Yes.
and helped you with peace. But it was all about how maturely you took it on and how you set boundaries with him that made it work for you.
Thank you so much. Double blessings, because she had to sit in the hot sun, and she.
Exactly. Exactly. You see?
Right.
And you would have been
Right.
angry with him that
Yes.
you took it on. You became a people pleaser, which you're not anymore,
No.
right? And she had to do it. You
Yes.
didn't have to do it, which gave you freedom to do
Right.
what you wanted to do.
I I concur. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Yes, I was so proud of you when you shared that with me.
I was so proud of myself.
Okay, so B, take it from there, would you? It's when you talk about.
Okay, so
On page 43.
yes, I have it.
Okay.
So it's it's when you talk about your mistakes over and over and over again that you bring more pain into your life. This behavior this behavior literally tells the universe you want more pain. Talking negatively to anyone is within earshot. Thinking angrily thoughts, blaming others tells the universe you want more of the same. So you get more pain.
Mm-hmm.
Each time a golden lesson is presented, you are forced to decide whether now is the time for you to wake up, for your wake up call, or whether you will continue to wallow in your anger as a victim. Before you decide, the wise action is to take the time to quiet the mind and examine closely your misfortune. This examination will enable you to change your ways and create a positive outcome. The Buddha made it known that what you have become is what you have thought. This is also known as the law of attraction. Simply put, the law of attraction is the ability to attract into your life whatever you are focusing on. The law of attraction uses power of the mind to translate whatever is in your thoughts and materializes them into reality. And
Now,
basically,
B, hang tight.
yeah,
Now, would you say that based on what B explained to you, that she took the time to think over how she was going to react to her situation and it made a difference in her life? Sumaya, what are your thoughts?
About B or
Uh-huh.
about me?
About B, and then we're going to talk about you. Do you think B took the time in her situation to think things over before she reacted?
Well, yeah. Um, well, I mean, ultimately, you did pull back. I mean, you had the reaction and then you caught yourself and pulled back and really did some deep, inner work and transformed it. And I noticed, I mean, that's kind of my too, I have my, oh no, and then I
no,
have to
it's
do
not
what
like
you
that,
said.
Samaya. I'm
Yeah.
gonna kick his. I'm gonna go off. I dare him. The audacity.
Yes.
It's a black girl
Yeah.
thing. Wait a minute here.
But B, it's everybody's thing.
It's not,
Everybody does this.
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But yes, you're right, Samaya. think, oh my gosh, just pulling back all, I take it all back.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
what you did is you brought the energy inside. And instead of sending that pebble out into the water that would have made all kinds of pain, not only in that moment, but also in your future, because that's what you sent out into the universe, you shifted all of it.
Ugh, powerful.
Yes, it is. So, Sumaya, share with us about something that you've dealt with. Anything you want.
Well, just 2 days ago, something happened that someone made a decision, not in malice, but nonetheless, it was a decision that cost me $200 of income at a time that I couldn't afford to lose that $200. And it was very distressing. And I knew from um, a past experience that happened in early March with a car accident that this was another test.
Uh-huh. Good for
And it was a
you.
test about trust. You know, am I going to trust that this is going to ultimately lead to something good and it's going to have a positive outcome, but I don't see what it is. Nonetheless, I have what I got when I went into meditation, because I went, whoa, really upset about it. And I was talking to myself and I was saying the same things over and over. It was like an
Mhm.
OCD attack or something, where my mind just got stuck on a gerbil wheel and I was repeating these things again and again. And I wanted to tell this person something and I was rehearsing. It was like ridiculous. And then I brought it into meditation and I got this very clear voice of, let's see if I can put this. Um, you are shutting down what we can give you. That was the
Mm.
voice.
Mm.
And that as long as I knew, those might not have been the exact words, but it was the clear knowing that as long as I was going, this is really awful, I'm really upset, that nothing was going to be coming in to, to help. And that I had just slammed the door of all the goodness that the universe, there's that saying, the good that you are seeking is seeking you,
Mhm. That's right.
and it can defeat you if you slam the door in its face. And then you go, oh, well, why isn't it coming? Well, you slammed the door in its face. And I realized that my, oh, poor me, upset was slamming the door, and what other possibilities for income and relaxation could come in. So then what happened is I was still on the dribble wheel in my head. And then it came to me that every time I caught myself going round and round about what I wanted to say to this person, and very diplomatically, of course, that instead of saying that, whenever I caught myself doing that, I would say my prayer about how I'm attracting divine abundance. And so it's a particular phrasing that I use in the I am, work
Mhm.
that I do. And so it was like this perfect thing. Every time I caught myself starting to go onto the gerbil wheel, I switched immediately to saying my prayer for abundance. And wow, within actually a very short period of time, that other thing stopped happening, and I went deep into, divine abundance and connecting with it and trusting in it and knowing it was coming, and that it didn't matter that I didn't see it or know how it would be, but that it would be okay. So,
And so, what is the outcome?
and then, well, I had applied for some part-time work,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a longer story, but it looked like I was going to get it. And then I didn't hear from them for a whole week. And I had completed all these things with them. And I began to think, oh no, but it turned out they were just busy. So they called me. I came in for the third interview today. And, they're definitely going to hire me, unless they find out that I'm an axe murderer when they do a background check, or something.
That can
So,
happen, Samaya.
yeah, so so that's good. So the income isn't going to happen tomorrow, but it is coming in. And it just was like, okay, a response from spirit,
Mm-hmm.
that not to lose faith, to keep trusting, because that's the thing. When we did our session, Shirlene, that was one of the big things that you kept talking to me about, showing me ways in which I wasn't trusting. There are a lot of ways which I do trust. It's the only way I can survive life on planet Earth,
Mm-hmm.
but there are ways in which I trust when these kinds of things, when these setbacks happen,
I know, and you
especially
got
something I
really mad
didn't
at
see
me.
coming.
When I was
Yeah,
showing her,
I
she got
really
really
did.
mad at me, and she threw the phone down, and but then she came around. So I've never had anybody get mad at me. So that was an interesting experience. And it gave me a chance to step in and say,
Mhm.
okay, Sumaya, what do you want to do? Do you want to work together, or shall we do this another time? And I could have gotten upset, but it was a test for me too. But because that whole
Yeah.
treatment process I'm channeling, Spirit told me, just be patient. She'll be okay. And she was,
Yes. Yes.
right?
Well, I was in a very dark, deep
Right.
state
Right.
because of what had happened.
That's exactly right.
So, you were seeing me at my all-time worst, absolutely all-time worst that I've been in a very.
And sometimes we have to get to that place.
But
in order to
yeah,
move past it, we have to release that. I try to, that was a good experience for me, because I just did a treatment the other day, and I said to the person, I said, we have a volcano just 2 hours from here, and it lets off steam all the time. So they put big pipes all around the volcano so it could let off steam all the time, so it never explodes, right? And so I told her, I said, whatever you need to do, it's fine, because we all have to let off steam. And that's what Sumaya was doing. Okay?
yeah.
And Sumaya, I'm really proud of you that you stepped away from the situation you were experiencing, and you had faith in spirit, so that if you had probably not reacted the way you did, you wouldn't have gotten this job.
Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because we get what we put out. Okay, that's what I'm
exactly. Yeah, I know that, but somehow knowing it in your mind and then reacting to a difficult situation, it's not always possible to do what is true,
right.
Mentally. So I was knowing, I'm digging myself in a hole every time I have these thoughts.
Right.
And I knew that, and that was even more upsetting. But then I, found a way out by just, calling on all of my guides,
mm-hmm. And notice that both B and Sumaya went into meditation rather than reacting. Okay? Mm-hmm. So the meditation, it proves that it's so valuable before you react, so that you can do the right thing. And
well, I reacted first, and then I went into meditation.
But not to the woman, correct? Not to the person.
No, I didn't.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Because each of us have a God
Yeah.
within us. And if you had reacted to the person, to the God within that person, then that's the pebble you put in the water, and that's what boomerangs right back to you. Okay, you getting my point?
And actually, yeah, and she came to me the next day and explained why she had done it the way she did it, and that it was a misunderstanding, and that she's doing something on her end that's going to make it easier for me. The money still isn't there, but she's very aware of the problem that she caused and is doing her best to, ease the situation for me. And I didn't even have to talk to her,
Perfect.
She came to me and with a solution. Yeah, so that was kind of mind-blowing. So
yep, and it probably worked on her mind all night long. It
I'm
probably worked
sure
on
it did.
all night long. Yeah. So Sumaya, would you the
I'm
next
sure it did.
couple of paragraphs? The law of attraction is on 44.
Okay. The law of attraction is considered to be one of life's biggest mysteries, and very few people are fully aware of how much of an influence it has on their day-to-day lives. Whether you are doing it knowingly or unknowingly, every second of your existence you are acting as a human magnet, sending out your thoughts and emotions and attracting back to you more of what you put out. Sending out the wrong thoughts and attracting more unwanted emotions and events into your life is why you may not be living the lifestyle you deserve. Having said this, discovering the law of attraction is at work within your life should be a great cause for celebration. Once you clearly understand the power of the law of attraction and you have mastered how to apply it effectively in your everyday life, your entire future is yours to create.
Great, thank you. So let's move to Barbara. And Barbara, talk to us about an experience that you've had recently and how you handled it.
Typically, I run things on a mouse wheel, like Sumaya said, and relive my mistakes and my regrets, and
so tell us a story.
well, recently I had to make a financial decision, and it's stressful, and I've been trying to apply the law of attraction, and typically I try to bury things and ignore them, but I'm really trying to apply the law of attraction and trusting it. It makes sense head-wise, but I'm full of, well, how and why and how and really, and if this was so, there wouldn't be bad in the world, and all those so I'm struggling between peace and pain.
Okay. Would you like me to address that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I had that question about all the stuff happening in the world and the law of attraction. And I thought, why are there volcanoes erupting and shootings and all those miserable things when we talk about the law of attraction and what's happening in our lives? And Spirit made a really good point. Spirit said, none of that will happen around you. So the point being is, it's how, if I, like, I was just in Washington, D.C. A lot goes on in Washington, D.C., right? And there's a lot of murders. There's a lot goes on. And I was getting in and out of these cars with Lyft and walking the streets and looking all around. And Spirit said, you shall have no fear because you are always protected. Nothing happens around you. And that's absolutely true. Nothing happens around me. And let me give you an example. Dot and I went last year to Bali. And everybody said, don't go to Bali because the volcano is going to erupt. And Dot was having so much trepidation, and it created that in me too. And, you know, we found out that when you pay for your airplane insurance, if there's going to be a volcano eruption, it doesn't mean that you're going to get your money back. No. You lose your money, in fact. And so Spirit I kept saying, am I going? Am I not going? Am I going? This went on for months. And Spirit kept saying, I don't know why you keep asking. You're going. And sure enough, we went. We had a fabulous time, and it was spewing smoke the whole time we were there, but it didn't erupt until we got on the plane. So nothing happened around me. The same thing happened when I went to, where was I? Oh, I went to Italy, and it was just before the war broke out. And it was so scary when I went to Italy because they made me fill out a thing for next of kin. And they said, you may not make it back because we're right on the verge of war. And I was walking in airports. There were people with guns. I wasn't used to it then, but now I live in Mexico, so they're around all the time. I'm kind of used to it now. But the point being, I got home and the war broke out the next day. So Spirit tells me all the time, you aren't going to have any problems. The people who have no faith in Spirit and who don't understand this law of attraction and haven't been through my treatment or don't understand how Spirit works, they're the ones who get stuck in this because they've put out the fear that they receive back. Does that make sense in answer to your question, Barbara?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Does Spirit sometimes tell you don't do this?
Yes. They don't say don't do this. They'll say, because you always have free will. They say this isn't right for you. Okay? So if it isn't right for me, I don't do it. And I ask, do I need to be concerned about this, whatever it is I'm going to do? Should I have concern? Should I have concern about getting in the car with this Lyft driver? And I asked this question when I was at the airport, and I got a no. Okay. Well, this Lyft driver couldn't get out of the airport, and we drove around in the airport for an hour, and he kept going back on the same road over and over again. And the guy and I that were in the car kept saying, no, no, no. And then he started to turn right and instantly decided he was going to make a U-turn and do left in front of an oncoming car. And I thought, this is interesting. You said this was okay. And it was okay, right? And so then we finally, after an hour and a half, got dropped off at this other guy's hotel, and Spirit said, get out now. And so I got out and called another Lyft driver. Okay, so you have to check in. That's what I'm trying to tell you, is to check in no matter what you are doing. Questions? Anybody? Okay, so we're going to take a 10-minute break. I know we
I
all
have a
need it.
question.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, B. Go ahead.
Because I heard you say, that sometimes when people go through the treatment, they know better. I also want to reiterate that things come up even after the treatment,
Mm-hmm.
and being aware, the awareness is more prevalent because you this was your life back then, you've gone through the treatment. However, the mind and the body remembers the life back then, and this ain't no plaything here, because this is like my life experience, and I see them. They're there.
Mm-hmm.
I could not have money in my bank account. Oh my gosh. I experience anxiety because there's no money in my bank account, but I know how to trust the universe a
Mm-hmm.
little bit more. And so I had to say that, even though the treatment is there and you've done that, it's a job now to stay balanced
Exactly.
full
And
time.
everything you're experiencing right now, B, if you don't have money in your bank account, look, last year I spent from May when my father passed till the end of January, I didn't make a dime. And Spirit said, I don't want you working. I want you staying home. You're not traveling. You're not speaking. And then in November, I was feeling much better and I was ready to get out and get going. And Spirit sent me Maha Curry, who is an awesome medium. And she came to San Felipe and she kept saying, I just have to talk to you before I leave. I have to talk to you. I have to talk to you. And she did. And what did she say? You can do nothing until the end of January. She stopped me right in my tracks yet again. And why couldn't she have said something else? Why did she say that? But I had to trust Spirit. I had no money coming in at all. And Diana, my assistant, she's like, what are we going to do? There's no money in the account. What are we going to, I always have savings, but I don't want to dig into my savings because I don't know what'll happen medically, right? So she was freaking out. And I said, just be cool. You're going to be fine. Don't worry about it. We're going to be fine. Spirit says we're going to be fine. And now look what's happening today.
Yeah.
So you see, Spirit goes before you. If you read the New Testament, Spirit goes before you to make the crooked places straight, right? And it was a huge test in trust for me to do that last year. A huge, but Sumaya knows I run like the wind. She knows how I am. I never just sit. I meditated day after day after day after day. And the book was written, the book was out, and here it is. It's released, sitting like I tell everybody else not to do. And as a result, I'm like, what am I going to do with all these books? I spent all the money on these books, and now they're gathering dust like everybody else. And I tell them all the time to get their book out, not to let it gather dust. And look what I'm doing. And that's the chatter that I was saying to myself. But look what happened because I trusted Spirit. You got it?
Knowing that it's Spirit and not just head chatter, not
right.
Not the mind or whatever.
And Barbara's, may I share, Barbara? Barbara's going to do the treatment. I think she's heard about what you guys have done and what a shift it's made in your lives, and she's going to do it. But she put it off. And so now we're not going to do it until July, but she's seeing the stability in all of you, and that's what she wants to. Yeah. Right, Barbara? I didn't mean to talk for you.
No, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's exciting, but it's scary um, what am I going to become? How,
Yes, that what am I going to become? All that you're going to become is more of the God within you.
mm,
That's all you're going to become. That's what Sumaya's experiencing. That's what B's experiencing. That's why they can pull back and say, okay, the God in me is looking at the God in them. And would I talk to Jesus that way? I don't think so. If Jesus told me to step forward and do this, would I say no to him? Well, I do, but he doesn't let me get away with it.
mhm, mhm.
Okay? So if you don't have money in your bank account right this moment, know that I didn't either. And look what's happening to me now. I don't teach you to do anything that I don't do myself. All of you know that. It says it right in the book, right? I've experienced this. Let me share this with you. That's all it says. Okay, questions? Are you ready for a break?
Ready?
Okay. All right. Anybody else need a question? Then we'll just go on a break for 10 minutes. Okay. Look at the clock. We are at 6:33. So I'll see you at whatever 10 minutes is from that. Okay.
Okay.
See you in a bit. You ready? Okay. So Barbara, why don't you read the beginning?
In the quiet of my little trailer, I stopped to breathe, reflect, and focus on how I had gotten to this place in my life. How could I go from vastly rich to penniless in what seemed like overnight? I had made many, many, many golden mistakes to learn from, but I had very little knowledge about how to correct the desperate situation we were living in. That was when the theory of the life-changing 3 C's led me to financial freedom and wealth. As I closed my eyes, I could hear the waves crashing against the shore, the seagulls calling as they flew overhead, and the voices of my darling children bantering back and forth while building sandcastles. How fortunate I am to be alive, healthy, and at peace in this moment, I thought. I learned at a very young age that no matter how life challenged me, there was always something to be grateful for. And so I began to write. The 3 C's, clearing, clarity, and confidence, were delivered into my mind faster than I could pen them on the yellow pad. Writing while meditating is a practice art that I picked up at the age of 16, and I still use it to this day. Later, reviewing words that seemed more like they were channeled to me than they were my own, I vowed to act on them diligently, knowing there would soon be a shift that would take the 3 of us to a better lifestyle.
Okay. And we'll have Sumaya read next. Thank you, Barbara.
Following the step-by-step system of the 3 C's changed my life and my income. It brought loving and caring friends into my world, and it surrounded me with a beautiful community of entrepreneurs. If this is a snapshot of the life you wish to live, get out a pen and feel free to make this book your own while learning how to sell through your heart. Should I continue?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's look at each of the 3 C's in detail. Each one is a step that builds upon the next. Step 1, clearing your stepping stones to success. Clearing your past creates clarity about the lessons learned from the mistakes you've attracted. I say mistakes you've attracted because you can't blame anyone else but yourself. We all look at the same problem or challenge differently, but it's how you choose to think about the other person or problem that creates pain and loss in your life. It's simply your perception of what is, and you have the power to change that perception anytime you wish. Ask yourself these questions and check off the statements that relate to your behaviors.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put B in, I'm going to try and put B and Samaya in a breakout room. And then I'm going to work with Barbara. Is that okay, Barbara?
Sure.
Okay, here we go. All right, assign.
What are we supposed to do?
I'm going to tell you. So what I want you to do is go through each one of these and check off the ones that apply to you. You're actually going to write in your book. So I want you to check off. There may be only one, there may be more than one, but I know if you say there are none, you're lying. Okay, so I'm going to have you go over, and then I want you to talk to each other about why you feel like whatever boxes you checked off are a part of you. So I'm going to give you actually 10 minutes to do this. So set your timer on your phone if you would, because I don't want to disturb you, to 5 minutes each, okay? And just talk about, and there's never any conversation that goes on outside this group. We've all agreed on that. So don't be afraid to be open and share the experiences for why you think one or two or three or four of these might be a part of you. Everybody understand? Yes, nod your head yes if you understand. B, do you understand? B? Questions, Sumaya?
I understand.
Yeah, do you want us to go through the whole
Yeah, I want you to go through just the checklist, yes, with each other. Okay?
Okay.
All right, good. So, let me see if you'll go around now.
Back.
And then, Barbara, you're going to stay with me.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I should have gone. It takes a while, I noticed. Move to breakout 1. Okay. Sumaya. Okay, good. I don't know why it isn't going.
Well, I need to.
What? There we go, finally. Okay, Barbara, just go through your list. B, you should disappear momentarily. Oh, maybe you need to be assigned to. There we go. All right, B, you and Sumaya are supposed to be in 1. Yep. And Barbara, you hang back with me. Nope, that didn't work. Why not?
No, B and I are not in a breakout room.
You will be.
Okay. We
right.
were, but I was there by myself, so something happened.
Move to. Okay, I have you together. So you'll go in a minute.
Okay.
Okay. It just takes a while, I notice. Okay, there we go. And I am going to join. Okay, there we go. I did it. Woohoo! All right. So did you go through and mark which ones applied to you?
Yes.
Okay. So talk to me. The good point was I couldn't break out each little thing and because the pages would have gone on forever. So the point was to identify yourself in the phrases that I put there. And then look at whether you've overcome them or not. Okay? So you may have been that way as a child, or you may have been that way right up until recently, and now you've overcome it. So the point is that I really want you to see who you've become and who you were. Does that make sense? Okay. So Barbara, share with us what your discussion looked like on your side. And I'm sorry I had to move you around, but I couldn't get Sumaya to go as hard as I tried. So I just thought I'd surprise B and send you over.
I can work with anyone.
I know that.
Guys.
Great.
Yes. So go ahead, Barbara, talk to us about you.
Well,
Barbara had a hard time.
we did. We said we had to come up with something.
Right.
Oh, you had to come up with something. So none of this pertained to you.
Oh, well, we found a way to force ourselves into something.
I see. Force yourselves. Oh, I'm liking this. Okay. So talk to me about what you were forced to do.
Well, do you always have to be right? Well, I like to be right.
Mm-hmm.
Being a people pleaser, I'm not likely to be outwardly angry.
Mm-hmm.
I might be inside, harbor resentments.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more likely to blame myself, and that I would walk around on eggshells.
Okay, so you walk on eggshells.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Do you do that often?
Well, with certain people.
I see. Okay, that makes sense.
Have I stolen the attention in another's moment of glory? There's one time that particularly comes to mind that I stood up for a principle that sort of threw water on another's moment of glory.
Mm-hmm.
That I feel bad about having done that.
Mm-hmm.
But I was standing up for something which was unusual for me to stand up. So, it was a good and a bad.
Mm-hmm.
So I can be critical and judgmental,
Mm-hmm.
but not lash out at someone. I keep it inside.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you blame everyone else but yourself, or do you take all the blame on yourself?
I pretty much take it on myself.
Okay. Anything else?
No. I mean, no.
Okay. All right. Good. Okay. So B, what about you?
So do you want me to go through all 13 of them, or just?
No, just the ones that apply to you.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. I can do that.
Yeah.
I love the first one. Do you always have to be right? You have to keep in mind, I'm a nurse, and so I'm always going to be talking to people. I'm always going to be telling them what's good for them.
Mm-hmm.
So I want them to listen. I don't want to be right. I need to get my point across. And coming from that background, yes,
Okay.
listen. So that one just sticks and it stands out in my mind and stuff. And
what about your daughter? Do you always have to be right with your daughter?
uh, in the past I have, and as
Mhm.
they've grown to be ferocious pit bulls, no.
Okay.
I just leave them where they are and stuff.
Mhm.
Um, so that one really sticks out really good. I'm gonna skip down. Um, have you been critical and judgmental while hurting another's feelings? I am sometimes from here to here, no filter. And so there are times when I say things because I want to get the point across, and I'll say it and I'll think to myself after the fact, that wasn't the right way to say that.
Mhm. Okay.
Um, and the maybe the last one, do you harbor resentment, hate toward others, and cast them out of your life? I I probably babysit toxic relationships for a long, long time and keep them
Mhm.
around. So I wouldn't I don't think I'm gonna go with that one. I do try to cast them out, but that's sometimes hard. So I'm notorious for keeping toxic relationships
When you should be casting them out,
when you shouldn't.
right?
They need
Okay.
to go. And so the last one is have you stolen the attention in another one's moment of glory? My
Mhm.
goodness, I have six sisters. Yeah, I got to get in there.
Okay.
I got to shine. And because I have one that's beautiful, and two that her clothes are fine, her shoes are on time, and one's a minister and she knows everything. So yeah, I get my shine on when I can. And
Okay, good, good. So you recognize yourself in some of these things, and
absolutely,
usually
absolutely.
there's two or three.
Yeah.
And good job, both of you. Good job. And Sumaya, what about you? Share with them what we talked about.
Um, okay. So the first one, you always have to be right. If I cross out the word always, there are definitely times when I feel I have to be right. And so I was getting stuck on, the more extreme things. And, but then Shirlene said, just look for things that stand out. And then it was interesting, the one about are you a liar, telling stories that aren't true except in your own mind. And we each read that sentence differently, but I realized from what Shirlene and I were talking about that I lie to myself when I tell myself self-limiting beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
And I hadn't thought to look at that sentence that way. So that was really interesting because I read it differently. And then the next one, have you been critical and judgmental? I try to keep that to myself and not hurt other people, but I have been critical and judgmental, and it's a thing I work on all the time.
Excellent.
Because what I've learned is that mostly I don't know enough about why someone's doing something to even be critical.
Mm-hmm.
If I learn what's really going on for them, I'd have a different understanding of why they did what they did or, said what they said.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, all right, so that, and I harbor resentment sometimes, but I work on them a lot whenever I catch myself because it's like taking poison if you harbor resentment. It's really
Right.
bad.
Absolutely.
So those were the ones that stood out, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
They're all things that I do somewhat, or I have done them in the past and I've cured myself of them
Mm-hmm.
mostly.
And that's what I want you guys to see. I want you to see what you look like on paper. That's the whole idea. And I was sharing with Sumaya, I'll talk to you about myself. I was raised, and I've decided I'm going to add a word in there under have you been critical and judgmental? I'm going to add sarcastic because I was raised by critical, judgmental, sarcastic family. And it took me a long time in my life to get beyond that and to stop being sarcastic. And sometimes I catch myself thinking that way and I say, oh, I'm so glad I didn't say that, right? But my mother was critical and judgment, so much so that she was a school teacher, third and fourth grade school teacher, and she chose to alienate one teacher, and she split the school in half. That's how bad it was. And because she was so critical and judgmental of this teacher. And then because of her own behavior, she got cancer. She got breast cancer that subsequently went into bone cancer. So all of the hate that she did in that school came back on her physically.
Yes.
And she died 18 months later. So the other thing is, do I think negative thoughts and whine to anyone who would listen? I thought negative thoughts about my father because he was so abusive. And the only one I whined to was my grandmother, but she could do nothing to help me because she was afraid of him too. And as a result, I harbored resentments almost my whole life. And even till the day he died, he told me that he had absolutely no regrets for anything he had done in his lifetime. After just admitting that he had abused both my brother and myself. So I don't understand why he would have no resentment. Well, then this same person, Maha Curry, said to me that he had been the one who had stepped up to stand in this position to teach me to trust no one but God and spirit. And that's what happened as a result. And so my dad used to say to me, we never know what you're going to do because you blow with the wind. I blew with the wind because I would do whatever spirit told me to do. And that's who I learned to trust. And to this day, I'm aghast that he would say, right up till the very end, I have no regrets. Okay, so those were my three. That's why they're there, is because I resented how he treated us. I hated him as a result of the abuse that I experienced. And there were also 15 years out of my life when he didn't speak to me at all because of some little minute thing that I had done. And when I talked to him just before he died, he said, well, you changed. Well, I did change because I didn't need to lean on him for who I wanted to become. And he resisted that. So that's why those three are in them. Okay, but we can't take the whole statement. We have to take pieces of it because it would have gone on for 4 pages if I'd broken down into every one of them. Okay. All right. So share with me what you learned tonight, Sumaya.
Wow. The whole night? You mean the whole?
Just
now?
What was an epiphany that you had tonight?
My computer is frozen.
Well, I'm hearing you. It's
Hello?
not.
Can you hear?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, but your image froze.
Okay, so go ahead, share it.
I knew something, and I got a message saying. So, are you saying what about this exercise, or for the whole night?
What epiphany did you have tonight?
Honestly, I don't know. I'm kind of drawing a blank. I mean, it's been really good, and I feel like we've gone through a lot of different conversations that have been enlightening, but I'm sorry, I just can't think of a thing
It's
right
okay. If you think of something
Um,
as we finish up here, just let us know. Okay?
now. Yeah.
How
Okay.
about you, B? Did you learn anything tonight?
Absolutely, Shirlene. Uh, and that's my phone like texting. Because I've talked about a lot of things and really, really been open and honest and transparent. I hold the key to my destiny.
Mm-hmm.
If I choose pain, that's where I'm going to go. I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to be in that space. So why choose the things that you have the control to make to go down a path? Why choose pain when you can have peace? In this book and in tonight has taught me I write the chapters in my life. I can rewrite them. I can correct them on the fly without hurting anyone and look like I have showed up clean as a whistle to look like God because I've had the time to think before reacting. I've had the time to be the person that I choose to be.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to harbor resentment, hate. I choose love. I choose peace. And having that experience over the weekend has elevated me to even a higher level. I write my check. My I write my destiny, who I want to become, how I want to show up. It takes a little work. You have to have the balance to do that. And admitting this is the way it was.
Mm-hmm.
Let's tweak it
Mm-hmm.
and have it be this way.
Excellent, B. Excellent. You got the exact piece that I was hoping that you would get. Perfect. Excellent. Good job. Thank you. Barbara, I don't know if you got a chance to hear my question. What epiphany did you experience tonight? We have to unmute you. Hang on, you're okay. Oh, now you muted yourself. Okay, go ahead.
Sorry, I ran out of electricity for a minute.
Oh, okay.
Um, the tossing the pebbles in, that I choose which pebbles to toss in and how they ripple and create relationships. And so that I have created, that I create myself. And that's pretty profound.
And you see now how they ripple out into the universe, your pebbles, and how they affect other people.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes. And choosing the right pebbles is quite a responsibility, quite a decision.
Right. And the pebbles that you choose are what create your learning experience in this lifetime. And everything that you've chosen in your lifetime has led you to this moment. Okay. Sumaya, did you think of anything?
Well, it's not that this was a brand new learning, but it was useful for me to have a chance to share the test in trust that I had just a couple of days ago and what happened around it. To share that, you know, brought it in even more. I mean, I felt like I got the lesson of what happened right away. You know, it started happening and clearing up. But it was good to tell it you know, because I could just appreciate the whole thing more. And looking at where I was, you know, in early March with the car accident that sent me down a black hole,
Mhm.
this was like another test on that same line, and I didn't go there. Well,
Mhm.
I did initially, but I didn't stay there. You know, it was very quick. It was like, okay, this is what I'm feeling, but I'm not going to stay there.
Mhm.
The law of attraction will bite me in the butt if I do.
Right.
So,
Right. Because you chose
yeah,
peace. You chose peace.
yeah,
And that's
yeah,
what's so
peace.
important. No
Mm,
matter what you do, try to choose peace, because once you, Sumaya just said it, once you choose pain, it sends you down the black hole. And we have no idea how long you're going to be there. We have no idea.
right.
And it's really hard to dig yourself out, isn't it, Sumaya?
Yes, very, very hard. It takes a long time and a lot of energy, and it's horrible.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So we've run a little bit over time. I want to thank all of you for sharing. And I just would like to close, if you will close your eyes for a few minutes, and just breathe deeply. And I just want to thank Spirit for this time that we have spent together, and for the guidance that we've been given, looking into ourselves to see how we've grown, how we've changed, how we've experienced in things in our lives, and what we've done to build trust with Spirit and move to the next step. Thank you for showing us the pebbles and how they ripple out into the universe and affect other relationships. We are always in relationship with others, and our behavior, no matter what happens, is what ripples out to others. And so we say now, always choose peace so that we can stay out of the black hole of pain. Thank you, Spirit, for your guidance and for your love. And so it is. Namaste.
So it is.
And so it is. Thank you, everybody. I love having this size group. It's been phenomenal. And I think that you see how we can dig in so much further when there's not as many as of us.
Is
So
there a way that we can have that little poem that about the pebbles, Shirley?
oh yes, I can give that to you, no problem.
Thank you.
Okay.
Barb,
All right.
it's nice chatting with you in our little break room.
Yeah.
Samaya, as always, you're such an amazing ascension.
Yes, he is.
Thank you.
So namaste,
Thanks,
everyone.
Dee.
Sleep well tonight.
Charlene, thank you for being who you are.
You're welcome. You're
All right,
welcome.
bye-bye.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.